Good day, good day. Happy Thursday. You know, I told them people what the cheat code was, didn't I? If you didn't see my cheat code video, I made a video a couple of days before the election letting the Democrats know what the cheat code was. Cheat code is you gotta swing that last 15 or 20% of the black vote over to your side. You got to top off that black vote. You got to have it. I said it in that video, man. You got to come up, you got to come through nigger town to get to the White House. And you got to come correct. Because if the black vote swings one way or the other by 10 or 15%, it swings the election. And this time, 10 or 15% just stayed the fuck home. They did not vote. They didn't run you can always have some motherfuckers vote Republican and vote for Trump. Yes, you are. But that 10 or 15% critical mass of the black vote that swings the election, that shit stayed home. They stayed home. They didn't even go. They didn't even feel like it was worth it. But hey, it's all right now. Time to toughen up. Time to toughen back up. We got a Republican president. I gotta admit, man, I feel a little inspired. I know shit gonna be ugly. I know it's gonna be rough. I know I'm gonna be outraged at some of the stuff that the Republican Party does. But for the black community, I feel a little bit anxious because I know we're about to wake up again. I heard a couple of brothers talking this morning when I was, getting ready to go to work about this very thing, how the pro-black community comes back to life during Republican administrations. Now, he was kind of criticizing it, the movement's the same way I do, in that you got to keep the motherfucking movement going while we have Democratic administrations too. You got to be consistent. You can't think everything is okay when you got a Democrat in the White House. And that's what happens. But brothers like me, Professor Black Truth, Jason Black, Dr. Umar Johnson, Dr. Claude Anderson, people like us, but me on a much smaller, more local level, we fight the good fight year round. I mean, no matter who is in power, because we know where we really sit in this society. We know where we really at, no matter who's in the White House. You get Democrats in the White House, and everybody think we're in a post-racial society and all of that bullshit, and we're not. We never have been, and we never gonna be. What did that girl say to me today? She said the white people are clinging to power because they know that their population is, going down, or, and they're going to be overtaken by the so-called minorities, and they want to cling to power, and she's absolutely right about that. They want to cling to power. Because I reminded her about South Africa, where the white folks own every goddamn thing of any real value. And they got some black heads of state who are basically powerless to do anything about it. Or they seem so anyway. But anyway, that's what you're going to have here in the United States. A small group of white folks running a whole bunch of colored people. And then they're going to have us black people at the bottom. A handful of white folks running a whole bunch of colored people, and us black people at the bottom. That's what they envision. This next 4 years, gonna see some shit. I envision all kind of shit going on. Just like the last time. Republicans always leave a mess. Shit gonna be really messed up by the time they leave. I mean, the economy, society as a whole, probably be some We'll probably be in some war somewhere, some crazy shit going on because Donald Trump don't have no breaks this time. And he don't have to worry about getting reelected. And the people around him are going to try to etch in stone all these crazy ass policies. And people are going to be fighting them, and they're going to have to go through the courts and all that. But they want to stack the courts too. And they're going to ram that damn Project 2025 right down everybody's throat. They might not get all of it. But they'll get enough to where it's going to make a difference in your life. Just like they didn't get all of the things from the Patriot Act. But they got the ones that counted and the ones that mattered. And now you don't have no privacy. And now you are in a surveillance state. You know what I'm saying? Now you don't have habeas corpus anymore. You got a lot of things that, you lost some of your Miranda rights. There's a lot of shit that's already happened to you. But Project 2025, that's going to be something altogether different. At the end of the day, black people, it's time for another resurgence. That's all. To protect ourselves, we have to unify. And I think, and I said this a long time ago, form my own political party, or at least our own, political action committee, and start buying candidates, because that's the only thing this country understands. You got to go through the politics, because you ain't gonna win it in the streets, but you can win it in the politics. I believe all politics is local. I believe that. You know what I'm saying? Vote for your school board, your city council, your state elections, all that shit. All politics is local. I believe that. So that's how you get power. But you got to stay organized, and you got to stay with your own people. Because no one wants black people to have anything. No one. Brown people don't want black people to have anything. Polynesians don't want black people to have anything. Asians don't want black people. Indians, no one wants black people to have anything. Sometimes black people don't want black people to have anything. Because if that weren't true, then why would black people be talking negative shit about our reparations fight? If black people didn't want black people to have anything. I'm all over the place with what I'm saying. I probably ain't going to post this one. But it's time for a resurgence. It's time for a reawakening. It's time for us to get up off of our ass, put on our red, black, and green. Only this time, be more about substance rather than just, we know the history, we know where we come from, we know all that. Now it's time for us to get political and use our vote where it matters. I mean, we just exercised some power right then. We kept Kamala Harris out the White House because she didn't come to us with nothing substantial. She didn't give us a reason to vote for her. Kamala did not come to the black community with anything specific. And she side-pieced her way all the way to the vice presidency. And they kind of gave it to her. Remember I said this is the only way Kamala could have got in the position she in is because of, her being rewarded Listen, Kamala Harris was like out of the race in 2020. Y'all remember that, right? She had to drop out the presidential race. And Joe Biden was damn near about to drop out his own self. And Bernie Sanders was about to be the nominee. They couldn't have that. They couldn't have Bernie Sanders with his goddamn Medicare for all and motherfucking free college and all of that stuff. They couldn't have that. They couldn't have somebody in the White House who may really want to have made change. So everybody dropped out and they all dragged Joe Biden out the basement. and they pulled Kamala Harris out the mud, and they ran them two against Donald Trump. And people were so mad at Trump until, they won. That's how she got to be vice president. This time around, Joe Biden, he's so motherfucking old, he can't even form a sentence. But they was gonna run him anyway. They found out he couldn't handle it. So they bumped Kamala Harris in there. And that's how she got in. No, and they didn't have no nominating process at the convention, none of that shit. We're gonna run her. Y'all shut the fuck up. Anybody can beat Trump. And she, Kamala Harris, is her mama's Indian, and her daddy is half Jamaican, half white. But she a brown-skinned woman. She's not very good in the debate. She's not that skilled a politician. She ain't ready for the big leagues yet. And the United States of America is a racist country that is way too racist to ever think of putting this brown woman in the White House. There will be no cackling at the White House. There's going to be plenty of other shit from Donald Trump, but there ain't going to be no cackling at the White House. That shit ain't funny, but it kind of is. Man, oh man. So yeah, you gotta understand. The white folks want their country back. I don't know who they want it back from, because we ain't got it. You dig me? Shout out to Chris Rock on that one. That was an old Chris Rock joke. They want their country back. Back from who? You still ain't getting it back. What the fuck? Oh my God. They just don't want to hand power over to that brown-skinned woman. That's all. They don't want to see her looking and, the country ain't ready for that shit yet. And Kamala Harris ain't ready for that position yet. I thought she would step up to the plate, though. I thought she'd rise to the occasion. You know what I mean? Sometimes you have to pull greatness out of people. Sometimes, really. You thrust them into a situation and they got to perform or die. I figured maybe, she still did better than Joe Biden would have done. But I digress, man. It's time for us to go ahead with our pro-black movement. Stick together. Start reworking our political agenda, or refining our political agenda, adding more to it. Form a political action committee. Shit like that we need to do, man. Yeah. And form a good solid voting bloc. Because we are the African Americans, or the American Africans, or the foundational black Americans, or the American descendants from slavery, or freedmen, or multi-generational black people. We hold the power and the key to the election. We swung the bitch back to the right. We gave it to Donald Trump by 10 or 15% of us staying home. But you know what, though? On some real, I think even if we hadn't stayed home, she still would have lost. I got to keep it a buck. I think if black people had came out and voted full force for Kamala Harris, she still would have lost. Yeah, man. I think that she was such a bad candidate. And the United States is such a racist fucking country to couldn't stand to see anybody other than a white man sitting in that chair. Even as bad as Donald Trump is, and we all know how bad he is. We all know how bad he is. But they would still rather see him there than her. Because she lost the popular vote. And I don't think even we could have saved her. We might have been able to save her, but I don't think we could have saved her. But it's time for us to do our thing. Like James Brown used to say. It's time for us to do our thing. It's going to be a fun 4 years, man. I'll be around to see it. I'll catch y'all on the other side, and we're going to watch shit play out. Anyway, that's it for now, y'all. Hit the subscribe button. Listen to me talk my shit. I'll catch y'all on the next one. TC, and I'm out. Peace.